Hey everyone, welcome to Testimony Tuesday. It is March 15th, 2016, and we are so excited to have you guys here. We have a really special guest, and we're tickled pink about having her. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm Jennifer Hordick, by the way, Senior Gold Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce one of my uplines. It's Justina Wheeler, or Justina Blatz. I'm sorry about that, Justina. She is a Senior Gold Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide, also on her way to Ruby, and she's going to introduce our special guest tonight.
Oh. Hey everyone, I am so excited to be able to announce our special guest. She is a diamond in Plexus, which is the very top rank you can reach in Plexus Worldwide, and she has been part of Plexus, I believe, is 3 years now, right, Sonya?
It's almost 4 years.
Are you serious? Anyway, she has an incredible story about her health story, and her success story has been so inspirational. So I'm going to give it over to beautiful Sonya.
Oh, thank you, Justina. It was so great to hang out with you in Minnesota. I remember we really hung out a lot together there in the hotel room afterwards and had a girl party. It was so much fun. So I remember that. And
sick.
Do what?
Even though I was like super morning sick.
You were. You were. Are you feeling better these days?
Oh, yeah. Lots better.
Okay. Good deal. Well, thank you and Jennifer both for having me on. And, I just thought I would just kind of share with you guys just kind of my little bit about my story. I've been in Plexus. It will be 4 years in September. And, when I started Plexus, I was very skeptical of anything else because I tried all kinds of different things to, as far as weight management went for the last 20 years. I had tried all kinds of things. I was a member of Weight Watchers, and I had done Nutrisystem, and I had done every diet in the world. So I was very skeptical of that part. But I also I had a really painful condition. I don't want to say the word painful. I had a very, I'm trying to stay compliant here, guys. I had a very hurtful condition. My body hurt all the time. I was working a full-time job at the time that Helen, my best friend, said, we're going to try this Plexus thing. And, I was a lot better from the condition I had. I was a lot better, but I was still not well. I had a lot of stomach problems, gut health problems. My quality of life was just not great. I was 43. Yeah, I was 43 when I started Plexus, and I probably felt like I was 60, and 60 in a bad way, like not a good 60-year-old. I just didn't feel good. Rarely had a good night's sleep. Always felt like I needed a nap. Just a lot of issues. I had lipid levels I was struggling with to keep them in a normal range. So when she introduced me to Plexus, I said, okay, if this product works, then, I'll do the business and take the business all the way. I'll run with it. And she felt the same way. So we tried the products, and just the first week or two, my whole world kind of changed. My quality of life went from, I didn't need a nap anymore. I did not want that Coca-Cola at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and with supper and with breakfast. I didn't crave sweets in the afternoon. I felt amazing. You could hug my body. I didn't hurt. My legs stopped, hurting all the time. My lipid levels got into a normal range and have been able to stay there. So just a lot of amazing things. And, sometimes weight management is just a byproduct of getting healthy. And that's what happened to me. So that was nice too. That was a nice bonus. So that's a little bit about my story. And, when you feel good, you just start telling the world. And that's what I did. I just started sharing it with people. People would say, what are you doing? You act like you feel good, or gosh, you sure seem like you feel good these days. And so I just started telling everyone. And about 10 weeks later, I was able to quit my job and go full-time with Plexus. And about 3 months after that, I hit the Emerald position. So 6 months after joining, Helen and I both hit Emerald in the same month, in March. And then I hit Diamond that summer. I think it was June or July. So it has been a whirlwind. But I can tell you that people say to me all the time, how did you get to Diamond so fast? How did you get to Emerald so fast? Well, to me, it wasn't like a slow journey, a fast journey, because I had been trying to be successful in the other businesses for 20 years. So for me, it took me that long to get to that position. And I'll tell you that mindset, working on myself, personal growth, believing in myself was key. It was key. This is a great book that I'm reading now. It's called Self-Talk, Soul Talk by Jennifer Rothschild. Such a good book, you guys. It's biblically based. It's so good. But it talks a lot about, it goes along with what to say when you talk to yourself, which is a great book that Helen and I did a study on. It's on my YouTube channel if you ever want to look at the study. But it's important. If you don't have your mind set on success and see the future and visualize the future, and you get too caught up in just life, it can drag you down. So you always have to remember your why. Why are you doing this? And for me, it was financial freedom. It was time freedom. And of course, it was about the health in the beginning, but then as that was, that was amazing. Then it was like, okay, maybe this is a tool to help me to reach my why in life, which was to have time freedom with my family again, to be financially free and not bound to debt and all the debt that we were in. And so that's what you have to remember is what is your why? You have to realize, if you were on a ball team, this is a good scenario. If you were on a ball team and the coach said to you, okay, so your coach said, okay, guys, we're small. We're probably not going to beat that team over there. They're really big. They're better than us. But, we're going to do what we can. But, there's always next year. And don't worry about it. It's not a big deal if we don't win. I'm not going to be mad. Like, what do you think the mindset of that team would be when they went out there to play? Versus a coach that said to the same team, hey, guys, we're small, but we're mighty. And that team, they're big. But you know what? We want to win more than as big as they are. We're going to do this. I'm proud of you guys. I want you to get out there, play the best you can, because this is our year. Like the difference in how their mind thinks when they walk out on that basketball court. It's the same way every day. We have a choice, when we wake up in the morning and we stub our toe and the dog puked in the floor and we spill our coffee and we're like, oh, Jesus, can I go back to bed, please? And we just can't. And we have to get up and do it anyway. So why not make that choice? If I'm going to do it anyway, I'm going to live life today. I can either choose to respond to things this way or respond to things this way. And you have that choice. And you have to learn to be able to make that choice. And to understand that it is a choice. It's not, oh, I had a horrible day. This happened, this happened, this happened. No. Once it starts happening, you can change how you react to it. If you talk about it, you dwell on it, then that's very much more of what's going to happen. I say this all the time, but your mind is like a computer. And if you think about the computer, you type in a computer everything that you want to put into the computer. And if you don't like what's in the computer and you don't like what's in the hard drive and the software, you've got to get a new computer. If you don't get a new computer, you continually retrieve all the bad information all the time. And the more you retrieve it, the easier it is to find, the quicker it is to retrieve every time. Your brain is a muscle, just like that. And the more you recall things that have happened to you in your life, the quicker it is to come to you. And so it's a muscle. It works like that. So it's the same way with a computer. And I just want you to think of your mind as the computer. So in order for you to get new hardware, you've got to identify your fears. You've got to write them down. You've got to replace them, get a new hard drive. And then you've got to repeat them over and over and over. And I use an app on my phone called Repeat It Again. And I would show it to you, but I'm using my phone to do this because my internet was basically non-existent on my computer when I got ready to use it for my first Zoom tonight. And so I had to use my phone. Or I would show you the app. But it's called Repeat It Again. And it's a great free app on an iPhone or an iPad that you can record your positive affirmations, and it will repeat them up to 20 times. So it's a pretty cool app. And, I use it when I'm exercising, like on the treadmill, where I could just plug it into the treadmill and listen to it. So that's how I use mine the most. You can play it.
If you guys, I don't know if you can see it on mine, but is
that
one?
It is, Jennifer. Yeah, that's it. Repeat it again. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. And you can even play it before you go to bed, If you can put your headphones in and just listen to them as you go to sleep, that's a great way to do them. They'll play up to 20 times each. You can separate them into categories, or you can put them all into one and just repeat it 20 times. I have mine into categories, and then I'll let them play about 5 times each. I have thought about putting them all in a couple and then just listening to them like 20 times each. Probably be the same thing. So it's just basically you saying things like, let me give you an example. So if you have a struggle with maybe not even a fear, you have a fear of what people think of you, then you need to say things like, I'm so excited that everywhere I go, people love to hear from me. I attract positive people everywhere I go. People enjoy it when I have a conversation with them. In fact, people are lonely, and they love it when I start up a conversation. They're very engaging. It feels so good to be that engaged with people. Like, that's what I mean by an affirmation. It's kind of you talking like that. I love to exercise. I enjoy to sweat. It makes me feel like I'm burning calories, and I'm going to look great this summer in a sleeveless dress. Saying things that you struggle with in a positive way. So that's what I mean by that. And I want to say that, until instead of always looking outward for the motivation, for the next event, for the next book, for the next training, sometimes we just need to stop the madness and we need to look inward. And that would be with the books like this, with the books like What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, but really like working on ourself and not just a new idea. Because sometimes when you have that new idea, you still feel this resistance. When you start to put it into action, you still feel resistance. And that's that fear. That's that voice you hear when you start to do something and you hear something go, why would you do that? You're going to embarrass yourself. What if it comes out wrong? And it can either be your voice or it can be someone else's voice that has told you that. So either way, it's very damaging, and you have to stop it. So once you hear that, you can become aware then that you're even doing it. That's the first thing. Most of us aren't even aware that we're even doing it. So if you can become aware that you're doing it, then you're aware that you can stop it. And that's the first step. So that's a lot of what I wanted to say. I know let's see. Okay, it's 9:15. Okay, so I wanted to, just remind you too that, you have to always know your why. You can't just have a goal, but you have to know why you want to be an emerald or why you want to go to Hawaii. Not my why is to go to Hawaii. No, that's your goal. What is your why? Why do you want to go to Hawaii? What would that do for your family? What would that do for you to know you did it? You did this. You pursued this and you did it. So figure out what would fulfill you and your why, and keep that in front of you. Visualize, if it's Hawaii, visualize the sand, visualize the smell of the ocean, the suntan oil, visualize sitting beside the people you want to sit by, visualize hearing your name called, as an emerald, whatever it is, but you have to visualize it. It won't just happen. You have to see it, smell it, feel it. It has to be emotional. So you need to spend a little time when you're doing your affirmations in closing your eyes and seeing it happen. And that's very biblical based as well. If some of you have an issue about, is this biblical? This book backs it all. It's very biblical. Even just reading my Bible, I just stumble across all kinds of verses that I highlight and go, wow, so biblical. So we reap what we sow, right? We become like who we're around. All right. Are there any questions specifically about mindset and overcoming the fear and the self-talk? Anything that you guys can think of? Very open to questions.
You guys are all unmuted if you have any questions.
I have a question, Sonya. This is Kat Wilson in
Hey,
your
Kat.
team.
Yeah, hey, Kat. You all are on my team. So fun.
This is true. This is very true. How exciting. Anyway, what do you do when you have somebody that is in your team that you're trying to coach along those lines to get them to get their mindset turned around, but they're just not there yet, or they're not seeing that? Is there something that we can do when we're helping coach somebody else?
Oh, absolutely. The first thing is just, asking them, where do you feel stuck? Where do you feel like you're stuck? And always finding out where they're stuck. And most of the time they're going to say, well, I feel like I can't get my team, it's usually about getting their team going, or I don't know how to work with my team better. I don't know how to get my team going. I don't know how to train my team. So, it's a matter of finding out where they feel stuck and then saying, okay, what do you feel you could do about that? What do you feel like would get you on the right track to doing that? Like, what we want to do is we want to fix everything, and we want to give them the answer. And when someone gives me advice, I hear it, but I don't internalize it because it wasn't my idea. But if someone says, Sonya, what do you think you ought to do about that? And I say, I don't know. I have no idea. That's why I'm coming to you. And they say, well, if you did know, think about it just a minute. What do you think you might do in that situation? Tell me what that looks like. Well, I guess I need to talk to more people. Okay, great. What's your plan with that? Tell me your plan on doing that. Well, I don't know. Okay, do you have a list? Well, not really. Okay. Do you feel like that might be a good first step? Well, yeah. Okay. How many do you think you need to get on your list to reach the goals that you're talking about? Well, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Well, I guess 100 or 200. Okay, great. When do you plan on doing that? Working on that list. Oh, I'll start on it today. Okay, great. Tell me when you want to have it finished, and we'll follow up and have another phone call. It's a matter of you just keep pulling, unpeeling the onion. Never, it's resisting the urge to just talk and give answers. It's, when people say, I just don't know what to do, and you say, what do you think you ought to be doing? I don't know. Okay, let's talk about, like, if you just can't get them to say something, then you say, okay, let's talk about, in a perfect world, if things were going smooth for you, tell me what it would look like. And get them to think about how things would look like if things were going great. And then say, okay, great, that sounds great. How do you think what's the first step you think you should do in order to create that? I still say never give the answers. Very rarely do I say I need to step out of coaching and go into mentoring. I did it today on a coaching call. I did have to say, I need to step out of coaching if you're open to some mentoring. And she said, absolutely. Because sometimes you just have to give some suggestions. Sometimes you do.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that?
Yeah.
What's your definition between coaching and mentoring, since you brought up mentoring in there? What's the difference in your mind between those two?
Well, in my mind, mentoring is giving people suggestions based on your experiences. Mentoring is me giving you advice and suggestions based on my experiences. Coaching is helping people become aware of what they already know.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. That's
You're
very
welcome.
good.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
On the table, I think, no, the bags. I need a few more.
I do actually have a question for you, Sonya. This is Amanda Matney.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi. What do you feel, and I know this is going to be different for every person in their individual walk with growing in Plexus, but what do you feel was your biggest obstacle that you had to overcome in personal growth to reach Diamond?
Probably resisting the urge to just give everybody the answers when they would message me and say, where do I find this? How do I do this? Can you help me find this? Where is this in the back office? Like resisting the urge to just enable people instead of empowering them. I remember feeling that early on when we were growing from, I think I hit Ruby and Senior Ruby the same month. And then the next month, Emerald. I mean, it was crazy. It was like a rank or two a month. And so I remember asking Sheila right from the beginning, you know, when all that momentum was happening, how am I going to do this? If I can't handle if I can't handle 400 or 500 people now, how am I going to handle 4,000 or 5,000? And she said, you can't give people the answers. You have to empower them to find their own answers. And that was probably the best advice anyone ever gave me, really. I use it all the time. Yeah. So that would be probably my biggest obstacle for me. Yeah. Good question. Any questions? No, I'm good.
Answer.
Are we good? I got 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
That was really, really good. This is not a question, but I just want to say to everybody out there, if you know there's going to be a mindset training done by Sonya, go to that mindset training. I went in Minnesota. I flew all the way to Minnesota from Canada to her mindset training back in October, and I'm telling you, it totally changed my life. It completely changed everything. I went home, my book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, was there, and I could not believe the things that I was telling myself every single day. And so I just say, go to this mindset training. It could change your life. Get the book, read it. It doesn't just change your business. It changes you as a mom. It changes you as a wife, everything.
Yeah. It really, Justina, what I think too is it makes you become more aware of what you're saying to your children. Mm-hmm. I know it definitely does for me. Like, I instead of me jumping to say, why are you doing that? Or, it's like I'm so much more aware of my words. It's so amazing. So it can really change a generation if we change what we say to our children. And so, thank you for sharing that. I think I have 5 or 6 more this year. Next year, I'm not going to do 8. It's just too much. I think I'm only going to do about 4 next year. It's been a lot. This year has been crazy travel. And so I'm slowing down.
I think we're all thankful for those of us who've gone. We needed it, and we can pass it on to our team. So we've been very grateful for it, I think.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
I'm glad that you came on here, Sonya, because I was at your Nashville one, and I love the coaching, and I'm the one that wants to give all the answers because it's just easier. And I do it with my kids. I do it with my team, and I've been trying to put that into play, but I'm like, they need a jump start. So I'm really glad that you came on here and shared that with them because I'm like, I can implement it, but because I'm getting out of that rut, I feel like they would get it faster hearing it from you than seeing me do it, because I'm a little bit slow.
Well, it's a new habit, and it would be much easier just to give an answer to someone, because it's just easier to fix things and just, like, people go, well, what do I need to do? And when we know, or we think we know, we just want to tell them. But what we need to do is stop and say, well, what do you think you need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Make them think. What do you think is holding you back, Jennifer? Like, say that to them. What do you think is holding you back? What do you think your biggest obstacle is? And I had a girl today, she said, fear. And I said, okay, what are you afraid of? And she told me what people think of her. And I'm like, where do you think that came from? And I just kept pulling and digging. And of course she was crying. I mean, most coaching calls turn into tears. And that's a good thing. And it's okay. The good news is you can actually change that, because if you are worried about what people think about you and you told me where it came from, that's not from you. You can give that back. That's not who you are. Mm-hmm. That's not reality. So let's just choose a new thought and let's reprogram. It's really not as hard as people think. What's hard is developing the habit. Mm-hmm. That's what's hard. Yeah. You guys can do this. Every single one of you can completely turn everything around for yourself and your family if you choose to work on your mindset. I believe that.
Amen. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing with us. We really appreciate you spending your evening with us and taking the time out of your busy schedule for us.
You're so welcome. I've enjoyed it. I hope that you all have a great weekend, and I hope to see you all in Vegas, if not sooner. And God bless all of you.
Thank you. God bless you too, Sonya.
Thank you so much. This was very awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thank you. Go practice it.
Yes, thank you. Awesome words. Thank you.
You're welcome.